Alright, this is my Jeep Liberty 2008, and when I turn my car on, the whole time it's on, or whatever, it's got this check engine light on it. I've replaced the, last time I had service on the vehicle, they noticed it, and they replaced the fuel cap, and that did not fix it. I've reset the computer many times, and it doesn't fix it. And when I do this thing, so I take this off, I turn it on 3 times, 1, 2, 3, I get P0456 is the code. And that apparently is a minor leak in the Evap system, according to a YouTube video I watched. So here I got the hood open, and I think I found the leak. So according to this video I watched, this thing right here next to the battery, this is the Evap system right here. And it actually just comes right off. There's 2 tubes that go out of it, and they go all the way to the back. They go back to the gas tank apparently. And so here's one tube, and here's the other tube. The side of that tube down there, right around where it's connected to the thing, the little tiny cracks. They're not big. It's not like noticeable. If you look all the way in the back here, so the line actually runs right there. Do the focus on this thing. So there's the line right there connected to the firewall. If you look down into, it's really hard to get a good image on it. If you look down to where it connects right there, see where it connects right there against the wall, there's the little split in the tube. I think that's what I had to replace. So that tube goes to there, comes around here, and connects to there. It's actually the whole thing basically. So this part right here is starting to crack a little bit. There we are. I can see a little bit. It's starting to crack a little bit. That one is cracked open. Right down there is where the other end of it where it connects. And that part is cracked open. I think that's where my leak is coming from. So I'm going to see if I can find a replacement part for that. And I should be able to remote start my car now. The video I was doing, I had the hood open in the car, in the Jeep. And I was looking at a bunch of parts. I looked at this part in particular, which is right next to the battery. This is called the Evap Purge Solenoid, and the battery is sitting right here. So this is the front of the car. This is where the hood is. This is like right next to the battery in front of the hood. So this has 2 tubes running to it. This part right here and this part right here. So the way it works is there's a thing called an Evap Canister underneath the vehicle, and it is it's right in front of the rear differential apparently. It's supposed to be connected to the gas tank. And it handles something called emissions, which from what I can gather is the vapors that come off of the gas tank. It collects them and recycles them back into the system so that they can be reused. So this is where it flows from underneath the vehicle. So there's the firewall that has the tube coming out of it, and it has the split on it, and this is the tube right here. It comes through here, it connects to the Purge Solenoid, that's the part, and then it goes out through this tube, and this runs to, I think, the air filter. It might run back into the block so that it gets recycled and reburnt. This is the part that's split right here, and what I had done after this is where it's actually connected to the firewall right here, and there's my split right there. Is the split in the tube. It's connected. And this goes down into the firewall and back to the Evap canister. So I thought this would be easy. I went to the auto parts store down the street from me. Went in and I just said, "Hey, I need this Evap tube. It's the one that's running to the solenoid next to the battery." The lady in there spent a couple minutes searching through the system. She mumbled about not being able to remember what the name of the part was. She said it was called something special, and I didn't really know what she was talking about. And after some time and some deliberation, she advised that I contact the dealership where I bought the car and ask them what the part number is for this, and then come back. So I went outside into the parking lot. I called the Chrysler dealership where I bought this car. I spoke with the parts department. The guy was pretty nice. He humored me for a little bit, looking for this part. I don't know. And he said he was looking through diagrams and he was trying to find the exact part in the diagram, and he was kind of confused by it. And I thought he was kind of pulling my chain a little bit, but after we hung up and he wasn't able to give me the part, I think we got disconnected. I went home and I came online and I did some research and I started looking around, and I found myself in the same type of situation that he was describing. So I wanted to make sure that I did a video on this, because a lot of the online guides to replacing this part don't go into depth on this particular aspect of getting the part. They just say you need an evap tube, and that doesn't really do any good. So here I found myself at this page called Factory Chrysler Parts. It's factorychryslerparts.com. I put in all the information. It's a Jeep. It's a 2008 in my case. It's a Liberty. It's a, for mine, I forget what, I actually have the results already this is a 3.7 liter V6, 42 RLE is what this says. So it's going to be one of these. I think, what's the difference between these? 4x4 is the difference. Limited for mine. Category, oh, okay, so once you plug these filters in, I found myself looking through the fuel section, because it's the Evap canister is like coming out of the fuel tank basically, so I figured it was fuel, so I was looking around there for a little bit, and then I didn't find anything, and I found myself looking in the emissions. I googled Evap and it stands for emissions something, so I decided to give emissions a try, and then you're given these results. And so you can see there's a vapor canister and leak detection pump. My particular codes did not have anything to do with leaks. From the, I don't think it was the leak detection. Rather, it was the leak detection was working, so I wasn't trying to replace any sensors, or I probably would have ended up in here. And it's not a valve. It's not an ERG valve gas. So I ended up in this other one. It's the emissions control and vacuum harnessed. I just ended up in here, and you can see when you open this up that there's a diagram kinda, and if you zoom in on this diagram a little bit closer, you can see a couple parts here. There's this thing. It's got a 3 label pointing to it, and it looks like this is the firewall. And if you look really close, this is where the battery would be sitting. Here's the Purge Solenoid right here. And then there's 2 tubes, if you see. There's a number 2 pointing to this one that is coming up out of the firewall, and then along to and connects to the bottom of the Purge Solenoid. And then there's that second tube that runs out toward the air filter. So it's this number 2 is what I'm looking for. And so I come down here, and there's a couple of items listed. There's a 1, 2, and a 3. And you see that some of these actually have, it looks like they prefix the names with the category of the part, kind of like if it's a tube or it's a valve or a harness. And since this has the number 2, it's real doubtful, because number 3 is a tube and number 1 is a valve, which it's pointing to the valve right there. These 2 things, these 3s, these are tubes, and then this tube right here is a harness, apparently. A harness vapor purge. So I went in here, and there's a couple options for it, but it basically gives you 3 part numbers. Let's see. It's this one right here. 521. What is it doing? Oh, here it is. So if you look at this, there's actually 3 part numbers here. 521, 25201 AF, AC, and AD. The main one listed here is 1AF, and it says it's 2226. I did end up purchasing this part, but I didn't purchase off of here. What I did instead, I believe that I went to Amazon. There's no reason not to order the part on this page. I googled up some reviews on it, and there was a guy who was unsatisfied with his expectations versus the actual reality of the service that he received, but it didn't have any indication that this website itself is invalid to order from. So I looked for this part on Amazon, and I believe the Amazon page that I ended up ordering from, I got the 52125-201 AF part number. Found it on Amazon. It was $32 with shipping, and it arrived 4 days later. It worked out pretty well. I just have a product page. I just recorded the product page, basically. I screenshotted it. So here, we'll just take a look here. Here's what the Amazon page looks like. It says Dodge Nitro Jeep Liberty OEM Emission Vapor Purge Harness. You can see it's got that part number on this tag. It's got a couple of images for the part. These are the images for the part. It looks just like the part that was in there. Basically, it's got all the clips for the firewall attachment, and then the Purge Solenoid attachment, made in Mexico. And so I ordered it, and then it arrived. So here it is. This is the part. This is how it came. Right. Here's how it comes. It's just in this piece of plastic. There's the tube. There's the attachment to put it into the firewall that connects to the firewall attachment. And then looks like this part is what connects to the Purge Solenoid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to my Jeep, and I'm going to take the old one off, and I'm going to put the new one on. And hopefully we'll be able to begin using my remote start again after this. So here's the front of the hood. Here's the battery. Here's the Purge Solenoid. This Purge Solenoid, literally you just lift it up and it comes right out. And here are the two tubes connected to it. Here's the bottom one running back to the firewall. You can see there's a little nut there that it's pushed onto. And there's where it's connected down there. Hard to see from this direction, but there's where it's connected. There's that green little knob there. I'm just going to push that in and pull it off of there. I'm going to try to pry this piece off of this nut. I think it's just an open thread. I think you just pull it right off. And then I'm going to disconnect the green. The same thing over here is just got a green button that you push in and it disconnects from there. So I'm going to pull that off. Where it's connected to the firewall and that nut, I literally just put a screwdriver in there. Hard to see. I already have it off, but I already just put a screwdriver in there, and I just pried it off basically with the screwdriver, and it came right off. So that was a little easier than I thought it would be. Earlier I said the green button on the bottom of the solenoid. It wasn't the green one, it's the bottom one. I was looking at the wrong one, but I meant the black one. It actually has a black button on it. The replacement part actually has two green buttons on either side that you squeeze in. This tube is out, but you see the little connector on the bottom is not. It's still in there. You see it's sitting there. It's got the green button on it. It's really hard to get out. I'm going to stick a pair of pliers in there and see if I can pry it off. This black part was really hard to get off too. Ended up using my pocket pliers to hold that in, and then just worked it out really slow. And it's really hard to work in there because it's really cramped. Your hand is up against the firewall, and the block, and it's just not an easy place to put pressure on that little green clip and also work the thing off of the tube that it's on. So I'll just keep working. I just actually just used my hand. I didn't want to stick my pliers down there. And you have to push this like green thing in with your nail or your finger. You got to put it in. You got to push it in real hard, like as far as you can get it, and then twist, like yank it off. Came off. There we are. Here's the replacement part. It's got this piece is going to get connected to that nut. The bottom of this has the connectors on these are a little bit different. They're two-sided. You push this in and it squeezes it out. Both of these, there's a blue one on the bottom piece and then a green one that connects to the Purge Solenoid. Does the same thing. One note about this tube is it's underneath all these wires and alongside the block and everything, and it's actually underneath all of these. And this is a real act to get this out. It's twisty Olympics trying to get this out from underneath all these various tubes and wires and stuff without breaking anything. So I kind of slightly bent it a little bit getting it out. So I'm going to try to be a little more careful getting the other one back in. But just for comparison, just to make sure, these do appear to be the same parts. And lay them right on top of each other. They're about the same lengths. So I'm going to stick the new one in. Tube / harness is reinstalled. I just stuck the bottom part of the green part of the tube onto the bottom of this and pushed it on until it clicked. And then I just reattached the solenoid to this there's a little brace right here that it connects onto. Just push that down onto it. And then I just ran this tube harness through here. You can see it's connected down there. I pushed it onto the tube and I just pushed it down until it clicked. I'm pretty sure that pushing down on the tube doesn't cause any real damage to the tube itself underneath. But that's clicked on there. And then this is connected through here. I just took a screwdriver straight at it and I just kept pushing it on either side of the nut until it went on. It was kind of a battle to get it on, but it went on, and now it's all connected. Now the test is I'm going to drive around with it. We'll see if the check engine light goes off. If the check engine light goes off, then I should be able to do a remote start, and the remote start should last more than a couple seconds. The actual symptom that got me looking into this wasn't that the check engine light stayed on for months. It was that my remote start would only keep the car on for about 3 seconds before turning it back off. So apparently it will not run if the check engine light is on. And so now hopefully it does. So I'll update once I get that. I put the battery terminal back on. I did not let it sit. I just put it back on. I'm still in the garage actually. I started it up. And the check engine light is not on right now. The air pressure light is on obviously because that's my rear left tire is below the mean of the other 3 tires. But the check engine light's off. I'm pretty sure that this means that this is an initial indication that replacing the harness / tube did the trick. We'll give it a couple days, see if it comes back on. If it doesn't, then I'd call this a success. I'm gonna begin testing that the remote start works immediately. So that's it for now. Sunday, it's Friday, so it's been about 5 days. I've been using the remote start every day, several times throughout the day. I refilled the fuel about a day or 2 in. Put the gas cap back on. Just normal, couple clicks, nothing excessive. The check engine light has not come back on, so I'm considering this this fixed, and that's it. $32 for the part. Not sure what it would have cost me if I'd went to a shop, but I'm sure I saved probably $100 by doing it myself. It wasn't too bad. The worst part was finding the part, figuring out what it was called, figuring out the part number, but that website was really helpful. So yeah, that's it. Later.